Hi there friends, what's up? This is my review of the 70mm Dashcam Pro Plus. This is one of the GPS enabled dash cams by Xiaomi. So let's start straight away and tell you what's in the box. Well, first of all, looking at the box, I think it's quite a small footprint. It's quite compact, and if we open this box up, it sort of reveals this camera. So let's have a look at this. So this is the camera in question. As you can see, it's got a quite small footprint. What else do you get in the box? Well, given that I've already opened this box in the past, what you get is a manual in there. You also get this cable tuck-in tool, so that you can tuck in remnants of the cable in the inside the upholstery of your car, which I found quite handy actually. And then you also get quite a nice quality charger for the camera, and it has a specific orange area for you to ensure that you're sending the appropriate voltage for charging of this camera. Apart from that, you get a long cable attached to it. Now this long cable is pretty decent in length. I myself drive a BMW 5 Series Touring. It is actually one of the longest cars that BMW makes. And if it is fine enough for me, then I think it's fine enough for most cars in the market, as mine is quite a long car. So that being said, let's dive right into what's actually happening with the camera here. So what you get is, first of all, the camera module itself, which is quite movable. So it's got a good range of motion here. And then what you get on the front of the layout is these 4 buttons on the top. So a lot of menu navigation is quite simple and actually happens from these 4 buttons. And you get this long bar at the bottom here, which is basically your on and off function. On one side, you get the micro SD card slot. Now, the micro SD card slots that usually work very well in these are the SanDisk high endurance cards, which is what I would recommend. I'm currently using a 32GB card, but it can actually entertain right up to 128GB. It's got a micro USB port for charging. In terms of the battery size, I think it's about 500 milliampere hours. On the other side is this mic area. The top bit is plain. And then this is the area with which it actually connects to the cradle. The cradle is also provided in the box and is already attached to my car, and I'll show you my setup in a moment. So let's power up this camera. Now you can see that there's an LED area here. The LED area has gone to green, then it is recording fully. For this, it'll actually need an SD card inserted inside it. If you do insert an SD card inside it, I recommend that you format the card before you use it. So if it's green, then it's recording. If it is red, then it means that it's not recording, or there is an error. And if it's blue, then it means that you are actually accessing the memory card, so the camera is on standby. So let's power it up and see what happens. Now, what makes this camera special is that it's got 2.7K Ultra HD recording. That's the first thing. It's also got an app enabled inside it. It records in high definition range, and it's got both a built-in Wi-Fi and a GPS. Now, the advantage of the built-in Wi-Fi and GPS is that you always have your GPS coordinates and your speed, which might come in handy. So those are the advantages. So it's got a built-in GPS. It's got 2.7K Ultra HD recording, which makes this camera stand out from the rest. So what's the improvement with the Pro Plus module? It seems to have a more enriched LCD screen as well inside it. So that is probably another improvement that we need to mention here. So we're turning the camera on now, and as you can see, the screen's lit up, and it's quite a high definition screen, as you can see, and it catches up about 130 degrees in terms of field of view, which is, I think, quite excellent. Now, let's go through the menus. So the first bit in the menu is the voice recording button. So you can turn that on and off, so you'll be able to record what's happening inside your car. That's one thing. The second button here with the flag on top of it is the module that helps to record emergency videos. So that's your emergency video recording button. This is your gallery function. So it's able to record a gallery module. It's able to get you into the gallery. Now, that gives you the option of picking up emergency video, parking video, and time-lapse video, and also some photos. So let's go into these all videos to tell you sort of what sort of resolution you can actually get. So, so showing you this resolution. So let's just get you into a driving area and show you what the driving footage appears like. So you can see it's not bad at all, actually. So that being said, let's go back. I've set my recording at 1 minute chunks. So that's how I have tuned my settings in. It also does record emergency videos, and the thing with emergency videos is that they don't get recorded over. You have to manually delete them. Then there is a parking surveillance video. So when you parked your car, then it will take some parking surveillance for that. And then there's also the time-lapse function, which basically means that suppose you leave your car with an inbuilt wiring in kit, so that it does always have access to your car's own battery power, then it'll record short time lapses. So suppose you've left your car for a 7-day parking at an airport, then it'll create a time-lapse video of that time that it's been around. So if your car's been driven around to different places, then you'll have the GPS coordinates for where it's been. And then obviously the photo gallery. So it's sort of, it takes some photos, and you can ask it to take some photos, and that helps. So let's delve right into the settings mode. So in the settings mode area, first thing is the video settings function. So you go into the video settings function, it has the emergency video function. So you can put it on high sensitivity or low sensitivity. That depends on the level of impact on which it will actually get activated. I've left mine on high sensitivity. Then there's a parking surveillance mode, which again you can choose the sensitivity for high sensitivity or low sensitivity. So a low thud will also get you recording, or if it's left on high sensitivity. Then there's a lapse video for which you actually need the cable, and basically needs the 70 mi cable kit. That being said, the next step is recording duration, and my advice would be to leave it at 1 minute chunks, because the way these cameras actually work is that they record over your pre-existing footage once the memory capacity of the SD card is reached. So if it's in 3 minutes, then you're actually removing a bigger chunk of the recordings. And it depends entirely upon you, what you choose there. In terms of video coding, you can get high compression and low compression. High compression ratio would mean that it'll take less space on your SD card. And then there is a video resolution, and as I've set it on the highest resolution at 2592 into 1944, which gives me 2.7K Ultra HD resolution, which is quite good, I'd say. This sets up the frequency. So basically, I've set mine at 60 Hertz. So mine is recording at 2.7K at 60 Hertz. High definition range, you can turn that off and on. Speed and latitude might be a handy function, because you can actually disable that. So depending upon your driving style, if you're somebody who does not want to reveal their speed and latitude to a video footage which you might want to use legally in the court, then that might be something you might want to do here. Okay, so that just takes us through the video functions. Video settings. In terms of system settings, what you have is a Wi-Fi hotspot, which you can enable and disable. Power on Wi-Fi, which basically means that if you do power on your car, then the Wi-Fi turns on automatically. I've left that to off because my phone will then automatically connect to it and then will be disconnected from the 4G network. So I usually turn on the Wi-Fi hotspot only when I want to download some videos. Then comes the recording function, where you are essentially, you can actually put it into dummy mode where it will stop recording completely. Then there are these advanced driving aid services. Now the thing with these is that they are a brilliant idea. However, if you use these in the UK and you've been basically doing a lot of town driving where you're navigating loads of roundabouts, etc., then it'll constantly continue to give you lane departure warnings. Now, it seems that the camera gets confused quite easily when you are navigating through roundabouts, etc. So these lane departure warnings can be a bit of a distraction. So my advice would be to be considerate in terms of the distraction that this might create. In terms of utility, I do think it has a utility, but perhaps on the UK motorways rather than in town and city driving. Now, screen off time could be sent to could be altered to conserve battery. Speaker volume settings can be changed, and then obviously system time, system languages, etc., and or time calibration. And this brings me to some of the criticisms of this camera. One is the ADAS system. I don't necessarily am a great fan of it. Although somebody who does lots of motorway driving, I think they'll probably find some brilliant use to it. That's the first criticism. Second criticism is that the touchscreen is a bit of a fingerprint magnet. So it's got a nice glossy screen, but if you leave your fingerprint there, then it'll start showing in a moment. So, and then the third thing I'll say is that time calibration is often difficult with this camera. So it only calibrates the time once you connect your Wi-Fi to it, and if your camera then runs out of power somehow, then the time is reset. So you'll have a point where it'll actually show your accurate speed, but actually show a wrong time embossed onto your video. So this is something you need to be wary of. To ensure that you have the most accurate time, that means you have to regularly connect your camera, perhaps on a weekly basis, to ensure that the time is calibrated. Then there's a format SD card function, reset to factory setting, download the app function, which basically ensures that will basically display a QR scanner code from which you can download the app. And then there's a system update function, so you ensure that you're basically using the most latest version of the software. And then there's the about function. So that's pretty much rounds up the review. You can see a couple of icons right on the top. What basically that is showing is that the Wi-Fi has been turned off, and the other thing that is showing is that the ADAS system is active, and then the recording feature is on. So that pretty much concludes my review of this camera. The next step would be that I'll attach some footage for you to have a look at. All in all, what do I think of this camera? I think despite some of its negatives, the positives are that it is giving you 2.7K Ultra HD recording. It is giving you a nice Sony sensor to go with it, which ensures that the low light performance is optimal. I think that some of these ADAS systems might actually be helpful for people who are doing lots of motorway driving. I think it's got some built-in memory attached. It's also got a nice screen to go with it, which is somewhat handy initially when you are attaching the camera to the windshield. So I think there is some utility there of a nice screen. I think the menu system is quite easy to navigate, so you don't really need to go through a lot of literature to be able to operate it. So I think all in all, I'll recommend it. Now, in terms of the price point, I was able to get this camera, the UK variation of it, from the AliExpress website to in the region of about 50 to 60 pounds. It took some fair time to actually be delivered to me, but I think all in all, for 50 to 60 pounds, I think this is incredible value for money. And I think having a camera, especially given the rise in hit and run cases, is a must for most cars nowadays. So I think it's worthwhile having this. And if you're able to then get one of the lower resolution, lower feature Xiaomi 70mm cameras for the back of the car, then you're within 70 to 80 pounds, you have created a full front and back monitoring system. Because I think not only a front camera, but a rear camera is also useful in terms of everyday driving. So if you do that, then you're using one app to control both those cameras, and I think that's helpful too. So all in all, I would recommend this at this price point, and I think it'll easily couple up with another lower end Xiaomi Mi camera for another 20 to 25 pounds, and that ensures that you've got a full monitoring system in your car. So all in all, in terms of form factor, in terms of what you get, in terms of price, in terms of features, I think, and the picture quality, I would recommend this as a purchase. Many thanks for watching this review, and if you do like this review, make sure that you put a like and click the like button as well as subscribe to the video. But many thanks for your time. Take care. welcome inside my BMW. As you can see, it could do with a bit of a clean, but there you go. So that's the area, that's the docking cradle in which you can actually insert the camera. So all I'll do now is insert it in not too fiddly a manner, and it should be able to connect. And there you go, that's done. Nice and tight. And then I can turn it on to show you its functionality, provided there's some battery left, and there is by the looks of it, because the recording function has gone red. It's probably better that you connect it to power before you insert it into the docking area, because then it becomes less fiddly. So I'll just try taking it off again to show you.
Start recording emergency.
And there you go, emergency recording's been activated. But you get the idea. That's easy to disconnect and connect. Many thanks. And that concludes my review of 70mm Dashcam Pro. And I think you should go ahead and buy it. Many thanks.